Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Huda Dianto Rahman, and now I study at Islamic University of Majapahit. Okay, I want to share to you about quantitative research. You know what? Quantitative research. In quantitative research, there are experimental research and non-experimental research. Okay? For the first, experimental research. Experimental research is quantitative research method that use study effect of the systematic manipulation of one variable on another variable. The manipulated variables called the experimental treatment or independent variable. The observed and measured variable is called dependent variable. Okay, character of experimental research. In character of experimental research, there are three. For the first is controlling activities. What is controlling activities? Controlling activities is the researcher wants the measured variable to experience the similarity according to the wishes of the researcher. For the second is manipulating activities. Manipulating activities is the researcher make one of the variable according to the wishes of the researcher, and other variable are used as a comparison in order to distinguish which variable are manipulated and which are not. And the last is observation. Observation. The researcher carried out observing activities to determine the influence of manipulation in the experimental research that had been made. Okay, type of design in experimental research. First is pre-experimental design. The design in this study is not optimal because there are still external variables that can influence the formation of the dependent variable. B. True experimental design. In the design, a researcher can control all external variables that affect the course of the research. C. Factorial design. Another form of modification to the design is through experimental design by observing the possibility of a moderator variable. And D. Quasi-experimental design. This is an extension of the true experimental design, which tend to be more difficult. The design has control but is not fully functional. Okay, that's for experimental research. And the second is non-experimental research. Non-experimental research is a study whose observations are carried out on a number of research subject variables according to the circumstance, without any manipulation from the researcher. Okay, types of non-experimental research. A. Quantitative descriptive research. This research is a study that aims to explain the existing phenomena by using numbers to compare the characteristics of individuals of group. B. Correlation research. This correlation study is concerned by judgment between two or more phenomena. This type of research usually involves a statistical measure of the degree of association called correlation. C. Ex post facto research. Ex post facto research examines causal relationships that are not manipulated or treated or designed and implemented by researchers. Okay, that's for non-experimental research. And for the last, I want to share to you about the difference between experimental research and non-experimental research. The difference between experimental research and non-experimental research is that experimental research is research that can be manipulated and non-experimental research cannot be manipulated. Okay, for the conclusion is a lot of researchers consider the distinction between experimental and non-experimental research to be an extremely important one. This is partly due to the fact that experimental research can accommodate the manipulation of independent variable, which is something non-experimental research cannot. Therefore, as a researcher who is interested in using any one of experimental and non-experimental research, it is important to understand the distinction between these two. This helps in deciding which method is better for carrying out particular research. Okay, if there are many mistakes in my pronunciation, apologize profusely. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.